Hey y'all, welcome to the Broken Buddha. This is Monk Joseph, or Joseph James if you will. Today I'm just going to go through a really quick study path for enlightenment and realization. This is not every book that I read. These are the ones that I believe are the core books that you need to be able to make it to clearing enough karmic traces so you can achieve realization and then head towards enlightenment. Alright, so let's just go ahead and get started. Some of the books are from the Bon religion out of Tibet, and some are out of Tibetan Buddhism. There is one from Shaktiism, and then of course the core Buddhist text. So I will do the additional books after I do the main core series, as I'm like kind of organizing and moving them through right now. Okay. All right. So first I'll start with the less popular Bon religion. Bon is the native religion of Tibet. Personally, I am a Dzogchen practitioner. I'm trying to find a book that has that word. I do that. That's what I do. If you can see that, and it's like kind of reversed, but Dzogchen. I'm a Dzogchen monk. All right, so lay monk, lay practitioner. I don't know. I keep my vows, so it's hard to say if I'm a lay practitioner or a legit monk. All right, but anyway, so this is all about Dzogchen and achieving Rigpa through clearing enough karmic traces. And again, I'm just going to put you on a study path, and we're going to get right into it. So with the Bon religion, all three of these books are written by Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche, Geshe Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche. Again, you can't really see him. Anyway, so number one, we're going to go with Healing with Form, Energy, and Light. The 5 Elements in Tibetan Shamanism, Tantra, and Dzogchen by Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche. This will give you the basic fundamental breakdown of the elemental beings. Elemental properties, I really shouldn't say beings, properties that give us what we understand as reality. The first time you read the first section of the 5 elements, it's going to come off really dry like an encyclopedia. If you experience realization, you'll go back through it and it's going to be like reading about your friends. So, just bear with it. I've been through this book twice. I'll probably go through it many more times. I'm just going to through. After that, you get into your Sa Lung. Keeping those chakras clear is very important for many reasons that I'm not going to get into because I don't want to talk too long. And then there's a small piece at the end about Dzogchen because it is an elevated practice. In my experience, you have experiencers and conduits, and they rarely see eye to eye. And us experiencers need the conduits, and we know that we need the conduits, but the conduits don't know that they need us to achieve what they're trying to achieve also, because they get so locked into what they're conduiting, being a conduit for, in my opinion, that it makes it difficult. All right, I'm off base here. Okay, so this is your first book for the Bon religion that you're going to start with. Okay, this will get you you're in touch with the elements. This will get you clear chakras. If you're doing it for Western purposes, your fascia will be clear and you'll be much healthier. And Dzogchen for your meditative style. Put that one down. After that, you will flow into the Tibetan yogas of dream and sleep. This is also by Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche. This is actually a very advanced book. I tell everybody who thinks that they want to do dream yoga that dream yoga is extremely advanced because you have to understand how to do things in Tibetan, not only when you're awake, but when you're in the dream bardo. There's yogas you have to do while you're in the dream bardo and after you gain control. All right, so that's what this book is. And again, just go through it. It might take you twice to read it. It's a really fun procedure. I've been through it. I've had, efficient responses from the Dharmakaya with this. So again, and I have to go back into it because it's hard. And when you really get all these things going, it's really hard to maintain that degree of training and focus. So that's that one. And last but not least, in the Bon books would be Wonders of the Natural Mind. This is Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche's book on Dzogchen, and this is what finalized. I would call this a confirmation text because especially at the end it confirms what you experienced in the visions of Rigpa or Dzogchen, and there is no mistaking it. Like when you read it, you're like, oh, that's what that was. Me personally, I did not have the potential for recollective experience of Rigpa. I had the visions, and then I read this book and the other one I'll tell you about in a minute. That was like, oh, that's what that was. So I've had people try to say it was recollective, but I literally did not know what I understood what I experienced, but it was understood better upon this. And being that I'm not enlightened, I am only realized I do not know anything. I just know that I've seen and that I don't know anything. I can't even say I know that I've seen. I've seen, I don't know. That's what I'm supposed to say. All right, so this is a good confirmation text and get you on your way for your studies of Dzogchen. Whew. There's another book I recommend that I don't have handy. It's called Sound Healing by Tenzin Rengyur Rinpoche, and it pretty much turns you into, it'll not only help you with your sound work and understanding vibration work, mantra work, but it will also, you pretty much use this ritual to charge yourself so that when people walk by you, they have a positive internal feeling that you have programmed. Otherwise, you'll just use it for your mantra training if you're leaning more into Tibetan Buddhism. Okay, so now we will go into Tibetan Buddhism. There are many other books that you can read before these, as I did, to have some understanding, but it was pretty brutal. And this was actually a very evasive study path. I mean, very much the truth and Dharma just in your face the whole time. So we're going to start with Words of My Perfect Teacher by Patrul Rinpoche. Now, I'm going to try to explain this to you the best I can, but most of you will not survive this book, right? And I don't mean like you're going to die. Like, you're not going to be able to finish this book for reasons that I'm not going to get into. There's all kinds of reasons that either a ritual or a thought or a chapter is just going to throw you off, or might not even let you, for reasons that none of us will understand. You may not be allowed to finish it or able to see why you can't finish it. I got a hang up on this book that I will articulate if it ever comes up in the comments, but I'm not going to necessarily talk about it now. This book is probably one of the most interesting to me because the lineage of information started in visions of what the Bumpos would understand as Rigpa. And when you understand what you saw, you know, it's more of like a lesson plan or a guide on how to get there. Once you get shown the lesson plan, your goal is to get back there in a fully focused waking state. And so this book was taught in vision to the first practitioners, and then there are some gaps where there were no human transmissions, and then it popped up in vision again to the right people. I adhere to this wholeheartedly because I experienced it, and which is hard as a Westerner because it's just going to be very difficult to confirm and spread the information. I don't necessarily talk about the experience that much because I am saving certain information to be able to confirm other people have or have not had the experience. And it is unanimous across the board. You're not going to have a different experience than me. I didn't have a different experience than you. It's going to be the same. So this is a very unique book. Literally came out of like the information. I mean, all information like came from nowhere and is created, but this one I totally adhere to. So check it out. Words of My Perfect Teacher, written by Patrul Rinpoche, translated by Padmakara. I mean, translation group, everybody loves that, and some stuff in here by the Dalai Lama. Check it out. Moving on. The Way of the Bodhisattva. The reason I chose this as the next book was because Patrul Rinpoche lived by this book, and he wrote that book. And Shantideva is amazing, man. If you read some of this stuff, some stuff will hit home, some won't. Either way, enjoy it. If you have a benevolent heart or believe you are altruistic, check this out. You might realize you need to do a little bit more work. But this also is part of getting you there. And the Dalai Lama's Dzogchen text, last for the Tibetan Buddhist. This is not only a confirmation text, but a continuity text. Patrul Rinpoche talks about many things in here of experiencing Dzogchen that I won't mention because it may put people off the path. If you're on the path and you see it, I will discuss it with you if you need me to discuss it with you. But there are many things in here. Like after you read the one, it's like Patrul Rinpoche is still talking to you right here. It's just a continuation of him talking to you over there. And there's other teachers in here talking about different things. Personally, I literally just went like teacher. I'm trying to see who else we have here. I forgot who else gives these, and I'm not going to go through it too much. But this was an amazing book. Without this, I would not know who I am. I would not know what I am. Same thing with the other Dzogchen text. And I highly encourage to check this out. Dzogchen is also known as the ninth jhana, or the great surpassing. And it's something you fall into. I could not, even if I told you my whole life story, you wouldn't be able to duplicate what I did or what I experienced. So it is what it is. Don't see it as ego superior, right? When it comes to enlightenment and realization, there's a bubble here, there's a bubble here, there's a bubble here. This bubble is enlightened, this bubble is rising and realized, this bubble is not. Some bubbles stay down here forever, but the fact of the matter is you're just a rising bubble hitting ripeness, more or less. It's not so much like, I am not so great that I achieved realization and heading towards enlightenment. It's just is happening as things ripen. to believe that you are in control of this is actually completely opposite to what you should be thinking and experiencing as you're going through it. Okay, that being said, I think Geshe Tenzin Rinpoche would want me to mention, the two other books that they prefer people start with is, I believe, Sacred Mind and Sacred Body. I forgot the actual titles, but if you Google Sacred Mind, Geshe Tenzin Rinpoche, and Sacred Body, Geshe Tenzin Rinpoche, you will get those books. And that's, I believe, where they want you to start. But this is the path that I chose, that I enjoyed. And personally, if I was going to do it, I would read these things side by side, right? I mean, take your time if you need to, but I would almost pair these off, right? I would do this shamanism work and Salung work and meditation work while you're studying Words of My Perfect Teacher, right? And then after that, study the words of Shantideva while you work on your dream yoga. You can do both of these at the same time. Don't rush it. And then, of course, you can do these two at a time. I would personally say read this one first, then this one. This one helps will help you confirm your visions of Dzogchen, realization, or Rigpa, and this will help you lock it in my opinion. Okay, that being said, I'm going to move on to a few supplementary texts. I am a Shaktiist, and I do believe in a goddess, the goddess. And it's not so much the way you think. You'll have to go back and look at my videos on yin and yang to understand exactly what I'm trying to say. But I do recommend this book for anybody looking into Shaktiism. And I can do my best to recommend. I got everything out of here that I needed, that I was supposed to get. And at the end, it pretty much says that if you've experienced Rigpa realization, that's the goal of all of this. So, and enlightenment, moksha. And so I highly recommend this book if you are into Shaktiism or yantras, or even just tracking religion back to the beginning. This religion dates back to like 20,000, 22,000 BC, and is what it was before we were in a patriarchal religious era. Because right now we're like locked into a patriarchal religious era where, I mean, I love Amitabha, but Amitabha cried Tara out of his eye, but she's also the mother of all Buddhas that preceded them, or equal to. So I'm not a huge fan of the whole patriarchal time period. I mean, we're in a time period where, for whatever reason, men need the validation of patriarchal religions to validate their own strength and intelligence, and I think it's ridiculous because we all came out of a woman. So anyway, not my point. And again, with Shaktism, the point is not that there's a huge woman in the sky. It is more of a creative force, is the best way that I would describe it. I don't even want to say female creative force. You have a creative force, and then you have a physical force. You could even say destructive force. And that's yin and yang, that's what it is. So, I mean, think of it more as a force than a being, but if you need to understand a being, there are lots of emanations. I have my Tsundi poster here, got my Lakshmi statue there, my Ekjati. They're all emanations of the goddess, no matter what you're seeing. So there we go. That's one supplementary text. And again, the study path is fine on its own. If you're looking for enlightenment, for Buddhism, stick to that 6-book path. You'll be fine. All right. And I have to mention this. This is probably a majorly overlooked text. This is a very thin articulation of a book called The Noble Eightfold Path. This is the actual lesson that Lord Buddha left behind, despite all the different sutras, songs, mantras, and stories that people say. It's not very big. This one is written by Bhikkhu Bodhi, and I have very much enjoyed this. I mean, it is clear cut to the truth. Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing if you're Buddhist. There ain't no like, oh, there's a secret here, there's a secret there, there's a secret there. Nobody knows this secret. So it's like a whole thing. And it's just very clear and to the point, man. If you think you want to walk in Lord Buddha's steps, you get this book, do everything it says, and you'll be there. And let me know how that goes for you, man. Some pretty heavy stuff. Like, I follow it and work through it, but I am no Lord Buddha. All right. Anyway, 2 more books here. A little supplemental reading. Songs of Milarepa. The Tibetan Buddhists and my Lama friend, who I have great affinity for, swears by the 100,000 Songs of Milarepa, so I had to get this book. This book is only $2 on Amazon, and it's called Songs of Milarepa by Dover Thrift Editions. I don't think there's an author here. And it's amazing, absolutely amazing. It's an introductory to the 100,000 songs. Again, I paid $2 for it, and it is the best $2 I think I've ever spent in my life, to be honest with you. This book will really put it down for you. I mean, it's somewhere between like Shantideva and Lord Buddha, and mixing to discuss things in one person. And if you don't know who Milarepa is, he is a major head figure in the Tibetan Buddhist religion, especially in the Karma Kagyu group. I fell more into a Nyingma approach. And if you understand these things, I mean, you have your Nyingma, which is more, in my opinion, it's called the old tradition or the old way, but I consider it more like an experiencer's tradition because I can kind of see where people who weren't experiencing had to have something. And then you see the Karma Kagyu group popped up right after that with a human lineage going back to, I don't want to misquote this, so I'm not going to mention any names, but it goes back really, really far. I'm thinking of like Marpa, Milarepa, Naropa. Who started it? I'm gonna have to look this up. Anyway, look into it because a lot of these sages have great stories, did a lot of great things, or a lot of great books and content. But Milarepa's songs, the guy used to walk around teaching in song. I've tried it. It's very entertaining and fun, and very spirit raising. So energetically speaking. So yeah, so there you go. Songs of Milarepa. Check it out. And last but not least, this is a book that is very dear to my heart. I can't say that it is necessarily part of it. The other ones are all part of, will help you on your enlightenment, your study path. This is a Bumpo book written by, anyway, Lopan Tenzin Nambak. So this is a book written by, we'll call him the Patra Rinpoche of Bonn. His name is Shardza Tashi Gyaltsen. That guy. And it was translated by that guy. And this was also like one of the first books of Bonn ever translated. I actually am still working through this because I either didn't have the karmic traces to go through it or it wasn't where I was supposed to be. But the Lopan Tenzin Namdak is still alive. He is the teacher of teachers. In Bonn, when they elect new officials, they put names in dough balls and shake them out of a cup. The first one is the new leader. The second one is the new teacher. He was the one who got the new teacher many, many moons ago. And he's an amazing teacher. I've had interaction with him in a bardo. The man is just amazing. I don't know. I've never met the guy, but he is on the level, man. He is amazing. So check out this book. It was one of the first books released. Do not be concerned with the things that you think that you're seeing that may concern you. Remember, everything that you believe is conditioned existence. If you can't handle seeing a couple of posters that you're unfamiliar with, then you maybe shouldn't be down this study path. The beings behind me that you're seeing are beyond altruistic, beyond benevolent. I can't really get into it because it'd be like a whole nother video, and this one's already starting to creep up kind of long. So I mean, this is the head of this is the patron saint of the Shaolin Temple, and this is a depiction of all of physical existence as a single manifestation. And then of course you have Tsundi, goddess, Mahadev, as would be called in Sanskrit. And it's everything. You can't just see it as this one aspect. An aspect of these beings covers all aspects. Tsundi is mother when you need her. She is protector when you need her. She is truth. She'll show you the truth if you need it. Like, it's everything. You can't put one benevolence or malevolence on any of these beings, because whether you believe in God or goddess, that same being is doing everything. It is murdering, it is raping, it is killing, and people want to believe that it is some outside force. Humans are making choices, and people want to be alleviated of choice, and that's just not reality. You need to be held accountable for your actions, and I shouldn't say you need to, but you will have a byproduct to your actions that you're not experiencing now or ready for. And I do know this as a fact. I've seen it happening all around, and I am more concerned with the people who think they're going to make it out without ever saying the words "I was wrong" than I am the people who are, supposedly suffering. Because at least when they're in a human body, they're going to have some control over their suffering and what they can do about it. Once you're not in your familiar, well-known body and you have to stand up for yourself, I hope you trained yourself really well here. Because there's a reason you can't remember last time that you were alive or the in-between time period. And it's not because it was so pleasant you forgot. Okay, so I'm going to stop rambling and being all fire and brimstone, but you know how the other religions get down. Cool, so that's the whole study path. Again, just go through it, take your time. I read some other books by Kala Rinpoche, Jamgon Kongtrel, Dogo Kyense. I can't think, that's just like the main ones that I can think of. And Shardatashi Gyaltsen of the Bumpos, his whole, like, all of his works are being translated right now. Jamgon Contrell, the Leonardo da Vinci of Tibetan Buddhism, they're translating all his works right now. So this is a really good time to really get into these things. I mean, if you ever have any questions about another text, leave your questions in the comments and I will put it there. But this is the best enlightenment path as I see it. You're also going to want to get into some mantrayana, doing mantras and understanding Sanskrit vibration work. It's not what you think. There is no direct translation for a Sanskrit word. I'll tell you that right now. So somebody says this is a translation. There is a word describing a thing. It is not that word. This is not that. That thing is describing something super complex and philosophically not understandable. Like, that's all most good philosophy isn't. So there you have it. That's the best I got. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to do my best to answer. I have read these. Again, I did achieve realization. It will not be what you think it is. It is not what you think it is. Again, I've only seen, I don't know, but I do wish you the best on your journey, and I do hope your ride goes a little smoother than mine did, because it's a little bumpy. Yeah, those who know me will be like, that's what he's saying about that? Yes, it was a little bumpy. I'm pretty sure it gets a bit worse for some others, especially in the intermediate state. All right, so I'm going to do one more video explaining a little more about realization and enlightenment, and we'll see what I say about that. Peace and blessings. Thanks for stopping by, and I do hope you enjoy this study path.